Okay, so I'm going to basically show you how to create an Etsy account right from scratch. I had done a video on this before where I just showed like screenshots, but I actually do need to create a new Etsy page because I want to start listing the help that I give on Etsy basically. And then obviously I'll be using this Etsy account to list all the different things that I'm going to help people with, such as reviews of people's Etsy pages and PDFs to give help. So the first thing you want to do is make sure the email address is different from any other Etsy addresses that you may have already. So if you're creating another account like I am, what you want to do, certainly for me anyway, in Hotmail, you can actually create new emails. So you can have like different aliases. So you can create more email addresses in order to have like multiple logins basically for Etsy. So that is what I did. So if I just go back and show you, I've got these 4 different email addresses. So I'm using one that I have yet to use with Etsy, and so I'm just going to pop it into there. My first name is Sophie, and I'm going to set up a password. Okay, and then I'm going to register. Okay, so you press register there. Okay, so I'm going to save that password as well. So let's see what's going on here. So it says welcome back Sophie, so it seems to know me, and I've got my first notification. Okay, so I've got my first notification. Now I think with me it says welcome back Sophie, possibly because I've already created an account. What I would do quickly is confirm my account. So I'm going to confirm my account there. And then I can now go through to this and my Etsy account is all set up. Now I suspect that either you'll get this like me, bearing in mind this is February 2020, so hopefully this is fairly early on in the year that you're looking at this. But I wonder whether possibly, if you click on set shop manager, that possibly you will go straight through to this. I won't. I will never know because obviously I've done shops before, so I suspect so. But it may well be the case that it says welcome back, which kind of threw me a little bit, but may say welcome back to you. Even if you're starting a brand new shop, you'll definitely get your first notification. You need to go to your email address and then you need to confirm that that is definitely your email address. And because I created an alias, it will go through to my same Outlook account, even though the name of the email address is completely different. So you then need to set up your shop. So my shop language will be English. I don't know why that naturally goes. Maybe that's the top choice. Yeah, Deutsch. So English. My shop country, well, I'm in the United Kingdom, and my currency is the British pound, but you can basically choose. Okay, depending on where you are. And I would say selling is my full-time job. I don't think any of these choices make a difference to Etsy, but you know, there you go. Yes, it's just for your information for us and won't affect the opening of your shop. So don't worry about it. Whatever you put, make sure it's correct. For me, I'd say it pretty much is my full-time job, and then just click on save and continue. Okay, so because I like to use the same word in, or the same name in all of my shops, I always use Isabel. I'm going to call my shop Etsy Help. Let's just see. Your shop name will appear in the shop next to each. After you open your shop, you can change your name once. Okay, so I may change this, but I'm going to call it Isabel Etsy Help. Okay, I don't know whether it will make any difference me putting. Yeah, yeah. I don't. We're flattered, but your name can't include. Okay, right. So I'll pause this video and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I've basically decided that my shop is going to be called Isabel Marketing. I have the word Isabel in all my 3 shops. One of them I still sell clear stamps in, one I sell vintage jewellery, and this one I feel like obviously you can't use the word Etsy as I just discovered, so I'm calling myself Isabel Marketing, and it's available, so that's exciting. So I'm going to save and continue there. Okay, I'm then going to stock my shop. Now, obviously, I'm not going to stock my shop with my review information because most of you will be selling items that are either vintage or handmade. So I'm going to show you from start to finish on a listing that will show you how to basically fill in all the sections. So you just go to add a listing. It's just taking its time. Okay, so this is what it does, and then I'm going to basically add a photo. Now, I'm pretty sure that I had some photos in here ready. So let me just have a quick look. Right, so what I'm going to do is, so you click on the first photo, is pictures are the ones that I've got. So I'm going to create a listing from scratch. So I just want to show you the different sort of angles that you need to have. So I've got this lovely brooch. It's got all these dangly bits on it. So if I click on, I try and make sure I have 10 photos. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I make sure I have different angles, I have close-ups, I have a ruler next to it. I have to say with jewellery, if you hold something, it makes a huge difference. Showing the back of something, showing the maker's mark on the back, and showing what it looks like when it's dangling. So if I click open, and make sure that you do have the 10 photos as well. Okay, so as we load those up, I'm going to write my listing. So this is a JJ Jeanette brooch. It's a sort of tribal art pewter brooch, dangly, vintage, 80s, signed designer lapel pin. That's another way. So I'm going to try and shoving in as many words as I can. Bear in mind this shop is about marketing, but my other shop is vintage jewellery, so I'm just sort of showing you what sort of things you can write. And I'm just going to write Jeanette Jewellery, and I spell it. I have to say a lot of my customers are from America, so I often put the American spelling just because that's more likely I'll be found for that. Statement, big or large brooch. Yeah, I think that'll do. Now the picture isn't ideal because it's cut some of it off, so I'm going to use a smaller picture, drag that over as my primary picture, and I'm going to adjust my thumbnail because I want to make sure that all of it, pretty much all of it, is showing properly. So this is what you can do. You can make the size larger, you can make the size smaller, but you can't make it smaller than what it already is. And this is the size, and it's exactly right. Basically, maybe the lizard's tail, the gecko's tail's cut off a little bit, but it's not a disaster. So I've moved it to a point where I'm happy with, and I press save. Okie dokie. So just wait for that. So there's nothing you can do while this is loading up, but whilst your photos are loading up, if you're impatient and just want to get on with it, then you can start typing in your title. Okay, what I tend to do is I copy and paste that ready for later. Right, who made it? Well, for me, it was another company. What is it? It's a finished product. And when was it made? Well, these were made in the 1980s. So as long as it's before 2001, it is counted as vintage. If you try and sell jewellery that's later, then you have to have made it yourself, basically. They don't allow you to sell jewellery that is basically AliExpress, for example. Okay, this item is vintage, and I'm going to type in brooch and see what it comes up with. So, what's the options? Brooches, pins and clips, jewellery, wedding jewellery, pins and badges. I'm going to go for the top one. That covers most of the options. Recipients, girls, women, possibly I've had men buy these kind of brooches actually. So I'm going to put unisex adults. Okay, material. This is made of pewter. And bear in mind, depending on what you're selling, obviously you'll have different options, but they will offer you options that are relevant to your type of product that you're selling. It's not recycled. So if it's not recycled, I suppose you could put no, but if it's not relevant, I really wouldn't bother. If it's vintage, it's not likely to be recycled at the end of the day. There's no gemstone. Primary colour is silver. If there is a secondary colour put in. If there isn't, there's no point in putting in a secondary colour. Right, length, this is why partly I do this for my own sake. I click into the photo and I think, right, so that's 10 centimetres by 6 centimetres roughly. Okay, so it's 6 centimetres tall and it's 10 centimetres wide. Okay, style may not be relevant. I don't think there's anything here that's relevant. Avant-garde, maybe. Sometimes I put avant-garde, but I don't think it really is. Theme, animals, I would say, because it's got, you know, geckos, little scissors. It's sort of symbols, so you might want to put symbols. I think there's a section for symbols, or let's see. Actually, none of it's relevant, but it does have some animals on it, so I'm going to stick that on. Choose occasion. Again, don't put it in if it's not relevant. Is it specifically an anniversary present? No. I don't find any of these for jewellery is particularly relevant for me because, you know, it's usually a gift for someone. Celebration, again, if it's not specifically for New Year's, St Patrick's Day, don't put it in for the sake of it. And then the title that I copied earlier, I paste it in. Okay, and if I do have like various things that I put in at the end of my listings, as in, you know, if you need, you might want to clean these products, or that I do clean the products, but you might want to clean them further, or if you're going to put earrings in your ear, obviously make sure that you sterilise the earring, that kind of thing. So make sure if you're going to add extra things, put them in a separate sort of note section so you can add it later. Okay, so what I tend to do is I tend to do the description, I tend to do the size. So I say it's 10 by 6 centimetres, I think. Style, so it's tribal ethnic brooch by JJ Jeanette. Colour, silver because it's pewter. Material, pewter. Signature or hallmark, I put on this in this situation, it's signed JJ on the back. Always good to spell properly. And what else do I tend to say? And then I've usually got like extra things just that I put on all of them. I sometimes reference other products in my shop. So here is another JJ brooch listing, and then obviously I've only got the one listing at the moment, but I would then pull the URL from another listing and put it here, and then I've got all this bump that I write about. You know, if it's sending to different parts of the country, you might be charged an extra fee for shipping or for handling, that kind of thing, but I obviously haven't got that because this is my brand new listing. But you know, you want to put a bit more information about this if it's relevant to your listing. For me, the fact it's vintage, you have to understand that there may be very minor wear and that it's a very old piece, but that I always say what condition it is in. So condition, excellent, this is in really, really good condition. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, you can see what your preview on Google would be, so you'll be able to see all this. You can see what Google would show up as. And then tags, which is one of your most important sections of here. So what do I want to say? It's JJ Jeanette, because people may look for the maker. Although don't put too many references to a maker. I think that's what I originally used to do. But bear in mind that most people aren't searching for a specific make. They're searching for something in terms of the design. So dangly lapel pin. I will write Jeanette Jewellery, but this time with the words jewellery spelt the UK way. Vintage 80s brooch. Pewter jewellery. 1980s, 80s jewellery, that's what I tend to say, because I know the 80s or 1980s may be searched for. tribal, ethnic, big. I think I've got enough space for that. Statement brooch. Sometimes, what else can I say? I say it's signed designer. I might put my own reference to my shop, but I don't think I will here. Pewter jewellery, spelt like that. Oh no, I've done that already. Pewter brooch, vintage jewellery, just for the generic. JJ with the separate, with the gaps in between. JJ Jeanette brooch. And then I'm going to put statement jewellery. These aren't my best keywords, but it'll have to do. Materials, pewter, and price. So I'm going to put something ridiculous because I'm not actually selling this in this shop. It's just to show you the kind of listings that you can do. So I'm going to put 1,000, so nobody's going to buy that basically. There's only one of it, SKU. And also something that you might want to know about, which I don't ever use, but you might want to, is you can choose variations and you can actually put photos for different variations. So I'm helping someone at the moment with their clock shop, and he's got small, medium and large clocks. So I suggested that what he does is he goes to size. The prices will vary for each size. Choose a scale, so maybe in inches, and then you can name your options. So let's say small, well, for me it would be small brooch, 4x4, because you want to say how big it is. That would now say 4x4 inches. Medium brooch, 5x5 inches. Oops. And big brooch, 10x10. Okay, and what you can do, which is really cool, is you can add other variations as well if you wanted to, but just if we stick with that, if you save and continue, you can actually link specific photos. So if I want to link, so I obviously make sure you had the 3 different sizes of brooch or size of clock or size of whatever, but you'd maybe choose that one for that brooch. If you had a medium size one, you click on that, and another size one, you click on that. And so what it means is that when the person goes into your listing, when they click on the drop down option of small brooch, they can actually look at the picture of that particular size, which I think is pretty cool. But for me, you know, I don't use that basically, so delete. Okay, oops. So if I just go to edit variations, delete, and then update. So there are no variations for me. There may be for you. If there's personalisation, so if you want a name or character written onto your particular necklace or whatever, make sure you offer that option. For me, for my Etsy listing help or SEO help, what I tend to do is I just say, please enter the name of the shop that you want me to help you with. Because say you message me through one shop, you might find that you've got a few shops and you only want help with one of them. Okay, but I don't have personalisation. Dispatch origin, so this from United Kingdom, sorry, and then I always do 1 to 3 days. When I did 1 to 2 days, I found that I got caught out with that. There was a problem with that. I think that I didn't quite get the thing out in time, and that's not going to look good. So give yourself 1 to 3 days, depending on what you do. If you sell ready-made stuff like vintage jewellery, then that's enough. Depending on whether you want, whether you've got to make something from scratch, obviously. And then what you want to do is you want to fill in the delivery. So Royal Mail, I always do first class, always. And then for me, I currently do free delivery to the UK. So I make sure my prices factor in the cost of the postage. And then I do actually break it down for each different place. So I don't sell to everywhere. I might say, well, Australia, I only do international standard. It costs more to do tracked and signed, and very rarely do I get people saying they haven't received their item. So I figure in the long term it will cost me more to send things tracked than it is to send things standard. But then if it gets lost, then I have to refund them, and I still think it works out better to take that risk, but it's totally up to you. And then you would charge whatever, so let's say £5.50 to Australia, and then if they buy more, maybe 50p for the extra item. You can add a delivery upgrade. So if someone wants to have something much quicker, so domestic express, and they want to get it in one day or special delivery, then you might put, let's say, I really don't know how much it would be, and then £1 for the extra items. So you can add that as well, and you can save that as a delivery profile, so just general profile. General postage profile. Okay, and then create the profile, and then you can basically add that profile to everything that you list, basically. So apparently anybody in the UK is only going to pay no postage, and it shows you can see Australia £5.50. Okay, so at the moment that's the only places. And then if they wanted to upgrade it, I only do domestic only, so that's for local basically. Then someone could have it expressly sent to them, and that's how much it would cost them in total. Okay, so you then save and continue. Oh, so I'm missing something. Let's have a look. Oh, price would be a good idea. I think I put 1,000. I don't know why it's taken that away. I had put that in, as you saw before. And then save and continue. Okay, so you've done your first listing. Okay, it's exciting. Okay, so you can obviously at this point add loads of listings, but personally I just get to the end of actually setting your shop up and then do that later. So save and continue. How you'll get paid, so you just select your country, and for me it is the United Kingdom. And this is where I will fill in my bank details, which of course I can't show to you. So I'll pause this video and then get back to you once I've done that. Okay, so I've filled in all my bank details, and below this is all the information that you need to fill in for your home address. Don't put a PO box or a business address, put in your home address, but again I'm not showing that as well. And then I just go to save and continue. Okay, so my bank information has been saved. And then it will take you to set up billing, so your credit card details. So I'll just show you all the things that will be asked for, and then again I will fill this in without you seeing it basically. If you have a VAT ID, I think that's if you're earning quite a lot of money, like I think over here it's like over 85,000 or something pounds a year. So, but if you do, then obviously make sure you put your VAT ID. So I'll just pause again. And then once you've filled in all those details, you want to click on open your shop. So I'll show you what happens once you've opened your shop. And ta-da! After it did like a little flashy bit saying we're opening your shop, and it did like a little congratulations, then it takes you basically straight to your shop. And that's it. I'll do more videos on other stuff. And also, just as a little heads up, if you have got other shops, make sure that you reference those in this shop. Okay, so when you go to your about section, so if you go to edit shop and you go to, let's have a look, there's an about section down here. So if you talk about your business there, make sure you write also, I also own 2 other shops, and the links to these shops are, and then do the URL to those other shops, because it's one of those sort of unknown things that people don't seem to realise, but I do, it's important. You don't want to get closed down for not sort of referencing the other shops that you've got basically. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to get on with that, and I'm going to keep building this store up and showing you all the different things that you can do. We'll talk about adding in pictures. So at the moment, if you look at your shop, if I go into my shop here, so I'll just come out of that. All I've got is like nothing here, just like a rubbish picture here and no pictures here. So what you want to do is I would suggest that you go to something like Fiverr, Fiverr, and get someone to design you like a little shop icon. And on here, I would definitely put your photo of yourself as well. And you know, we'll talk about adding a shop announcement and all that. You can learn about shop updates. So this is when you sort of let people know what's happening in your shop, maybe a picture of where you're working, etc. You can do a little video of yourself, add up to 5 photos, add a story headline, so sum up what you want to do in a short sentence. Add your story. So like I said here, you want to reference the other shops that you've got. If you don't, just make sure you talk about yourself, but talk more about your products than you. They're not that interested in you particularly. If you do write about yourself, write about it lower down, but at the top you write what you have to offer people. You know, I have to offer vintage jewellery between 1920s and 1980s, a lot of collectible designer signed pieces, at very good prices, for example, and then make sure that you add links to the various different social medias as well. If you've got other people in your shop, so maybe you have someone who, like for me with my clear stamps, for example, my rubber stamps, I have another person who makes them for me and then I sell them. So you might want to put something about them. You can put a little picture of them. Some people have lots of employees. You can go into where you're selling locally. So you can create an event, which is quite good. So apparently there's a fox in the box bunting at the dock, there's tatty lashes, all sorts of things going on. So you can create an event, call it something, say when it is, say where it is, describe it, maybe put your Etsy page and then you submit it, which is quite a cool thing to do. And then in your shop policies, you definitely need to make sure that you add privacy policies, all that kind of thing. And then this all comes as part of like the generic stuff that Etsy writes for you. Okay, buyers responsible for customs, payment options. So it takes all these different options. This is already put in for you, returns and exchanges, tells you what can't be returned or exchanged, obviously things like food or digital downloads, and the conditions. And then you can publish your shop policies. Any information from me? I've added some frequently asked questions. So mine is about the different, let's see, the different conditions. So for example, excellent condition. And then you would say in flawless condition, for example. Then you save that. So the question would be, yeah, what condition are your piece of jewellery in? So I'm not, yeah, we'll get rid of that. And then selling to the Europe, then you have to add in your contact information, where you live and all that kind of malarkey, and you can submit your VAT ID. Okay, and then you can go and look at your shop. So that's basically covering the main things that you need for your shop, including what you need to do in terms of photos and extra information. I hope that's helped, and I'll have more videos to come. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.